So today we have Carson. So first off, we have known Carson for
probably
2 years, right?
We go way back
now.
now.
We go way back now.
You're an OG
Yes.
customer of ours, like
From the beginning.
From the black plates.
So Miss Carson Siler is a certified NASM trainer, nutrition specialist, nationally ranked bikini competitor since 2014, and a founding member of Team Hex. She knows her stuff when it comes to nutrition and fitness. She's the guru. I love talking with her. So we're going to ask her lots of questions, getting to know her, her background, how she got into this health and fitness journey, and then we're going to get into the bodybuilding world because you are a pro and you can tell us what's up and how to do it the right way.
And I will. I'm going to give you guys all the secrets. It's going to be great.
Yay!
Please do.
Yeah, all of them.
So
That'd be great.
First off, tell us how you became this nutrition fitness guru.
Yeah, what caused all this?
I think it started, I was really fortunate to be an athlete growing up. I played soccer all the way through high school, and I intended to play in college. And I come from a really competitive family. And so I've always had that, what can I do next? What can I do next?
Mm-hmm.
And the older I got as a woman, I think the more focused I got on self-improvement and just wanting to learn more about how to feel my best and look my best and use those things to just catapult myself forward. Is that the right word for that?
Catapult.
Launch.
Yeah.
Propel.
Literally.
And it worked. It did. And so then just continuing to self-educate and get that confidence to realize that you really can, I know it sounds tacky, but you really can do whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I got out of my own way, and every day I try to do that, and it just keeps getting better. So, I mean, I'm still a work in progress for sure, but.
How did you teach yourself going into this like fitness world? Did you just go straight to NASM? Did you do your own research?
Did you just start competing? Did you just do it wrong first?
I did it all wrong first.
As most of us do.
I say this to so many of my clients, but I wish I had me in high school because I spent a decade hating my body and how it looked, but I was so athletic and so active and so healthy. I'm so fortunate to have always been healthy, but I did not like how I looked in high school. I was not eating for the way I wanted to look, and I also spent like 15 years training not for the look that I wanted by like building up my legs and having personal trainers have me do like leg press and all these heavy squats and stuff. And for someone that has quads my size, I didn't need to be doing that. And so I basically started with my own personal trainer in high school, and I had a lifting coach and a running coach for sports. Okay. And then when I was in college, I drank a lot and partied a lot.
Whoop, whoop.
And
those college days.
That's just kind of how that went. And we'll just skip right on to graduation. And I graduated with flying colors. And then I moved back to Portland in 2010 and thought that I was being really healthy. I shopped at Trader Joe's and I would have, I'd have something small for breakfast, and then I'd have a bar, and then I'd have this little teeny tiny salad that was somehow like 600 calories for lunch. And then I'd have my dinner, and every weekend I would have takeout and pretty much whatever I wanted. So I was one of those where I would work.
Was it different
during the week
than your soccer days? Like in soccer, were you eating a lot more?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like, for reference, in high school, before soccer practice, if we had daily doubles or whatever, I would be having I had a foot-long Subway.
Oh gosh, I remember those days when I could down a foot-long
It was going to be
healthy.
a 2-hour practice, and we had conditioning practices and doubles and two-a-days, and I ran cross-country and played soccer in the same season at one point. And so it's like, food is limitless. Let's just eat it all. No reference to what my body needed. And then when I was in my professional career, I really associated my self-confidence and success with how I was feeling, and realized that my college ways and the way I was eating was not making me feel my best, and I wasn't performing at my best at work. And so then I started to kind of self-educate a little bit. And when I met my husband in 2013, we were playing, this is literally how it started. We were playing cards outside, and I hadn't worn shorts for like 10 years at this point. And it was hot as hell. outside. We were playing cards, and I started to cry because my shorts didn't fit, and I didn't like how I looked, and I wasn't comfortable. And so it was literally that moment. And the next day, I went and started searching supplements and started looking at bodybuilding.com and writing different workouts, and I just kept going. I hired my first nutrition coach, and I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power. So I had someone help me. I started with a meal plan, and my first goal was to get down to whatever my goal weight was, which was like 10 pounds or something for this cruise that we were going on 6 months later. And I did that, and then I was already eating like a competitor, training like a competitor. I'd had great success, and genetically I'm very fortunate to have a lot of muscle mass. And so I set a New Year's resolution to compete, not to compete, but because I'm terrified of stage fright.
To compete in
bodybuilding, because I was already eating that way, already training that way, and it would help me tackle this huge fear of how bashful I am.
And at this point, you're in your corporate career path, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You haven't switched.
Nope, I'm a district manager. Nope,
Okay.
I worked for Palm Beach Tan for 6 years in Portland, and was a district manager for them for a long time.
Tell us a little bit more about how that transition went from like corporate and when you decided to make this switch to fitness and nutrition, because I hear it all the time now. I hear it all the time, like people in their corporate worlds, and then all of a sudden they're just...
It has a crazy domino effect. So for me, I had just completed my 3rd show.
Wow.
And this was my 2nd year of bodybuilding, and I had been very successful as an amateur local competitor, and I was getting married. And so I didn't want to continue to prep because I just wanted to be a bride, but I wanted to learn more about my training just for me. So I started studying for my certification then.
Okay.
And it was when I started doing that I realized how passionate I was and how interesting it was, and that I could do that anytime, and I just loved it. And that's when I knew that I love working with people, I love helping people, I love empowering people, and so I could really easily use my natural skill set to apply to other people what I'd been doing for myself.
I love that.
Gotcha.
So you said you prepped for bodybuilding and then took a break for your wedding, or did you still feel like you were prepping for a wedding?
I was still prepping for the wedding, technically, because I had my dress fitting during prep, and so it had to zip.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had to keep it pretty dialed. But luckily for me, I had very sustainable preps. I wasn't eating, tilapia and asparagus. I had room.
Bodybuilding world.
I went wine tasting during prep. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy, but my dress was crazy heavy, so I had to just make sure that it could
fit into it.
And it zipped, and it will never probably zip again, but that's fine.
That's fine. So to kind of just revert back, I didn't know that story about the shorts. I'm guessing that was kind of years of like backlogged emotion, and that was the overflow. You finally felt confident enough around him to be able to open up, right?
The shorts thing is still my why, which is crazy because that's been in my closet since I was a little girl, like at soccer practice, in elementary school, middle school.
Yeah.
I would say to myself, and this is crazy, but everyone should hear it, if you run those sprints and finish first, your legs will get smaller. Or if you like hit that PR for my race, you're going to be more successful. And it all goes back to that, which was a huge driving motivator for me because I just wanted to be comfortable. So. And
what was it that helped you get over that hump of, I mean, it's a block in your head, right?
What helped me get comfortable is learning what I needed to do, what actions I could take to fix it. Instead of saying, I don't have time, or I don't know how, or I stopped making excuses and I just said, what do I need to do to make this work? And then learned as much as I could and took that knowledge and applied it. So binge drinking every weekend and having takeout in bed started to dwindle. One of my first fitness goals that I set was to not drink for 30 days because I hadn't done it since I was 21.
Right.
Wow.
And that was that same summer. So the shorts thing happened in May, and after that 4th of July was when my 30 days started. Just to say that I had done it and to make sure I could go hang out with my friends and still have a good time. And little confidence building event after confidence building event, you really start to realize, oh, I am the only thing in my way. And there's so many ways to accomplish this and still love the life that you live.
Was that the only thing you, like the first month you started, this is my goal. This is my sole purpose. This is what I'm going to accomplish. 30 days of no drinking. Or was there more to it than just that?
Nope.
That was it.
I just wanted to not drink
decision.
for 30 days. Yeah. And of course I lost like 5 pounds, and
exactly
everything started to happen
Weird.
more effectively, but that was one of the first things that I did, and then just started to keep going from there, really.
Yeah.
Just learn more.
And you are so disciplined, and that comes with being a competitor. And I know you work with people, especially just starting out, who don't have that competitive mindset just yet. So what do you do to help you get out of bed? Because this girl works out at like 4 a.m, or is at least awake that early. So what do you tell yourself and then your clients to help motivate them to stay on a very rigid schedule and set those goals?
The reason that I became a morning person was because when I was working in my corporate management career, I basically had to be available all the time. And so if I didn't work out in the morning, lots of times something would happen in my day and I couldn't end up going, or I wasn't willing to go at 7 p.m. because I wanted to go home. So I started working out and being finished with my workout by 7 a.m. so that I could go to work, and then whatever happened, it was fine because I got my little hour of me time. So I trained myself to do that, and that really motivated me because I had days where it got skipped, or weeks, and I was so frustrated because I felt like someone robbed me of my time. That I just said, it's not worth it. I'm just going to get up and do it. And that's kind of how that started. For my clients, what I tell them is time management and structure is huge, and I help them with that. But work out at a time that makes sense for your schedule. If you have time in the morning and that's when you're most alert, you should do it. But you want to do your activities when it works best for you. And morning just worked well for me because I had to be available for other stuff later.
And how long do you tell them to like consistently do it? Because I think a lot of people will do like, well, I tried it for a week and I'm over it. And that's the same with like food. We have to tell them like, no, you got to give it some more time. Like, how much time do you think they need to like really adjust?
To process that adjustment, right? If they haven't worked out for a while.
If it's any first time kind of major adjustment, I would say like a minimum of 30 days.
Okay, minimum of 30 days, guys.
Okay.
But for a broad spectrum change, if you have a brand new client that's changing all these things, we have a 90-day commitment. I will never tell someone like, I'm going to have you set by July 1st. I will never do that because it really takes, you have to learn everything, and then you have to implement it, and then you have to sustain it. You know what I mean?
90 days. Yeah. I like that. So that's a good set.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Okay. So if you guys have not seen Carson or don't follow her on Instagram, she's very, very fit. Do you feel like anybody can get the physique they want?
To an extent, unless there's like a massive injury or body part missing.
Love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then my other question to you is, your clientele, majority of them, are they just looking to get healthy and fit? Are they looking to prep? Do they have some sort of other problems?
All bodybuilders? What do you work with?
I would say it's probably 10% competitors, and then 90% just people wanting to feel their best, and it usually starts with, I want to fix this one thing, and then it spirals into this entire domino effect on their life. But most people say, I really want to fix this, and it's one physical thing, and then it turns into something bigger.
Awesome. And then let's talk about the 6-pack. Because I feel like
having abs.
My 6-pack.
Your 6-pack,
having
my 6-pack?
abs. You know, obviously I come from fitness world too, and like that's everybody's like, I need a 6-pack. I have to have this.
Well, that's
6-pack.
The trophy of that's what people think as the trophy of all your work. Like if you don't have a 6-pack, then you're not fit.
Do you need to get to this goal to be happy, healthy, and fit?
No. First of all, everyone has abs. You're welcome. You already have them.
They're there.
They are there.
They're there.
Coming from someone that has been crazy lean with low body fat, and right now, I don't know that I have abs right now, and I don't need them. That is not the symbol for success or health or being fit. It really depends on your definition of healthy and what that means for you. I don't care about.
We need a new symbol.
Abs don't make you a better person. you know?
No.
And so many people think when they have a goal like that too, I'll be happy when I have abs, or I'll be happy when I look like this. And you're not. It can never be about that one little specific thing, because it always turns into more.
Next topic.
So-
rolling from abs right into the bodybuilding world.
The question that everybody wants to know
This
about
is Lauren's
is,
favorite question.
what's up with the spray tans?
The spray tans.
The
I know.
spray tans. Why are they so dark?
They're super intense. So the spray
What's
tans
going on there?
are mandatory, and it's because the stage lights are so bright.
Mandatory. You have to have them.
You should. If, it will impact how you're judged, and bodybuilding is all about opening yourself up to being judged by panel. And so the stage lights are so bright that the tan is so dark to help bring out your muscles and basically highlight your body without it being manipulated by the lights. But then also it's a way to create consistency across the competitors that are competing against one another, so that they're all the same visually, so that they can really compare and contrast their physiques.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
There is a reason for it.
It levels the playing field. Yeah, it does.
Interesting.
It's also horrible.
So spray tan level 3 for Loren. Sign them up.
We'll have your face extra dark too. We'll ask for an extra spray.
All right. That sounds great. Let's do it.
Tell us who introduced you to the bodybuilding world, and what really enticed you to try it out.
My very first coach was the one that had introduced me to it, and she was prepping for a show, and I was just really fascinated with the whole thing, concept of bodybuilding. But she was the one that introduced me to it, and the thing that made me dive into it was I was really, really committed to overcome my fear of stage fright. And I was really confident in my athletic ability from my background. And so if I have a goal, that's what's happening. And I signed up for the show so that I couldn't back out, and that was my purpose. And I won my first show, which is then what?
Yeah, what was that like?
That's not normal, correct?
I think it really depends.
That's amazing.
For Carson, it is.
Yeah.
It's not
I
normal.
walk in, I walk out with a sword.
I was very fortunate with my placing, and I was rewarded for my physique initially when I was competing, and won my first show, won my second show, got second in my third show. So I did very well, but I don't think any of that impacted my ability to want to keep going. Each time I wanted to compete again, it was because there was a new level that I was trying to achieve. I was always looking, when I was getting ready for my first show, Loren had won that show the year before. Loren Irick. And so I was watching her, and then at that time she was already a pro, and so by the time I had won, I was already thinking, well, okay, I achieved this, now I want to manipulate this in my shoulders and see how far can I.
Can you explain the different levels?
Yeah,
I feel like I ask you this question all the time, so I'm like, wait, what?
So there are several ways that you can compete, but the most commonly referred to, there's the NPC, which is the amateur league, where you can compete to be nationally qualified in any bodybuilding division, and that's what I compete in. You have to be at a national show and win your class to get your pro card, and at that time you can compete in the IFBB internationally, and those only pros compete in the IFBB.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a whole thing.
So I've never done a show. You've never done a show.
Nope.
And the people listening probably haven't done a show. If that was something that was a goal, where should people start to get information from in order to do this the correct way? And what is the correct way?
My biggest mission is to show people that you can, if that's something that you want to do, you can do it without ruining your life or your body.
I love that.
That's the experience that I had, and so it's totally possible. I would tell anyone to explore that if they want to do that and that's interesting. put your feelers out there. I would say go and attend a show in the audience so that you can really get a feel for it. I was competing in my first show before I had watched one, and it's a really good intro to that world. I would also say
it's very different.
Yes, I would definitely have a nutrition coach or someone giving you nutrition guidance that you trust and that can educate you on what your body needs.
The nutrition is like the most important.
And so many people want to start a prep when they're already eating, 1,200 calories a day and doing cardio, and you really can't sustain that, and there's nowhere to cut from. So most people will spend a few months doing a reverse diet or getting their intake established so that then they can prep for 16 weeks and have calories left when they're finished.
And explain the reverse diet for someone who's like 1,200 calories. What does that look like for them?
A reverse diet is really, really cool. It's basically putting your metabolism through rehab. And by implementing certain things that we do with our clients in our coaching, it basically trains your metabolism to burn through fuel effectively, so that you can increase your calories when it's done effectively. You really don't end up gaining a ton of weight, and your body composition improves. So the end result is you weigh the same, you look better, you're eating more food, you feel better, and you're
more
in
muscle.
If you're lifting and if that's your goal. But your body will just completely change while you strategically get your intake up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that.
Really cool. Really cool.
That's awesome.
It's my favorite part about this job too. And so many competitors, I would say, I know you didn't ask me this, but that's their biggest mistake. Or their coach doesn't provide them with a reverse diet plan after the show, and so they just go off the bandwagon, and it gets real crazy because they don't have any guidance on what to do.
Oh, so reverse diet even after a show. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you want to like dip into that cutting phase and dip back out, not stay there for an extended amount of
you have to get your
time.
intake back up. Yep.
Gotcha.
So anyone that I prep, they have their, we do their whole prep, whether it's 12, 16 weeks, whatever that looks like. And before they even get on stage for their show weekend, they have their reverse diet plan from me that starts on Monday.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Tell us the dirty secrets of bodybuilding. You and Team Hex are just so open about it. And I think, like, you and I talk all the time. People are getting into bodybuilding. There's many different ways to do it, but there definitely is a more healthy and sustainable way, which is why we always talk to you guys, because you guys do it very, very well. So tell me the dirty secrets, the fatigue that you'll get during prep, how to avoid that.
Side effects that someone might experience from doing this. It's not all
Fun
roses
and
and flexing.
It's not all fun and games. No, a lot of it's not fun at all. You really have to be committed to the goal and the end result to do it. And all my personal experience, the dirty secrets of bodybuilding, the way that you do it in a way where you can stay healthy and compete for as long as you like and not damage your body at all or your body image is by only doing a couple shows at a time. So a lot of competitors you see end up being broken after a show, or they put on a ton of weight, or their body stops working because they did so many shows and stayed in a deficit for so long. And I wholeheartedly believe the reason that didn't happen to me was because I had reverse diets, and I only did one show my first year, 2 shows the second year, and last year I did 3.
Because some of these people do like, how many?
So many. And it's just because it's easy to do because it's like, well, I'm already lean.
You're already there,
it's just, it's just another thing, but it's dangerous. So there needs to be a cutoff. Prep is ending no matter what, and you need to preset with your coach a timeline on how many shows you're going to do.
I love that. That's really good advice.
So plan ahead and then follow the plan.
Yep, exactly.
And don't overdo it.
No. And then the down and dirty, the not so fun days.
Show us the
not so fun days.
What is that like?
So I never had to do more than an hour of cardio 6 days a week, but I'm super fortunate.
What does the majority do, cardio-wise, when it comes really close to show?
I don't know, but I get the understanding that it's not uncommon to have people doing 90 minutes, 2 hours of cardio a day. That's terrible coaching, but people do that.
Gosh, that's crazy.
My worst days that I remember were last year, and it's because I did my longest prep. So I never did more than 4 months, but last year I did nationals, so it pushed me to 7 months of prepping.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For my timeline, because my last show was July 29th, and I started in January. And leading up to that, a lot of it had to do with my work schedule too, but My husband and I can walk to the movies really easily from our house, and I couldn't make the walk because I was just really tired.
Oh, wow.
And I eventually would start to not want to do things on my day off just because it's like, this is my one day to not move. And so I would kind of be protecting my peace in that way, which I'm fine with because I'm a hermit. But, you know, you don't want to be living your life in a way where you feel like you're not going to have the energy to do something. And that's super real. And if you are not okay with being hungry sometimes, then it's probably not for you at all. It does not matter how amazing your intake is or how low your intake gets during a prep. You get hungry no matter what.
Is it, because I know a lot of these girls will do like whatever 20 weeks. Is it maybe the worst is like really close to the show, like the 2 weeks in, or does it vary?
It totally varies. I always had a really hard time when I was about 8 weeks out from my show because it's like, I've already been doing this for 8 weeks and it doesn't feel close enough that I can see the end of the tunnel.
Right.
And I'm really tired. So that period from, you know, like 8 weeks to 5 weeks. And then once I get closer, it's like, whatever, it's so close, I'm fine. But it's just hard and there's ebbs and flows. You have to take the good days with the bad, but you have to expect that there's going to be hard days and have a plan for what you can do to combat them. Buddy system.
Yeah, mentally. What do you do? What do you do mentally? What do you tell yourself as a competitor?
Yeah, how do you stay in that zone for it's a long time.
It's a long time. 16 weeks is a long time.
It's a long time. Something that really helped me was that I really didn't have to change a ton about my life to prep. My food, I didn't have to cut out a bunch of foods. I didn't have to change my workouts. The only thing that really changed for me was that I, over time, did more cardio.
Right.
But you shouldn't have to change a ton of stuff. It shouldn't, if you can set yourself up before your prep, it's a really enjoyable experience. You just have to not ruin it by going too hard for too long. The buddy system helped me a ton.
Who was your buddy?
Loren. Lauren and Carly were huge.
By the way, not me.
And having a support system in general, I have to give my husband so much credit because ever since the day I decided I wasn't drinking for 30 days, he doesn't compete, but he's never bat an eye. He will help me prep my food.
Oh, that's awesome.
If I couldn't drink or if I was too tired, never gave me attitude for it. And just that, I owe him so much because I know so many women that don't have that support at home and it makes it super hard.
Yeah, it's super challenging.
Yeah.
That would make it very hard.
That.
So as far as your recent transition from competitive bodybuilding to regular life,
my real life.
My real life. Now that you're a real person.
Yeah.
Again,
welcome to this world.
Thank you.
How is that transition going for you? And what have you noticed that is probably the most surprising?
You know, this transition was not planned. I fully intended to compete this year.
Yes, I remember that.
I was supposed to start prep in December. And I will never forget, I was laying in bed that day and I voice memoed Loren and said, not going. I can't do it mentally. I'm just not there yet. I need more time. And so at the beginning of each month, I had this calendar reminder in my phone, like prep starts, and just like pick a different show. And I just mentally didn't have the same goals. I know that I don't need to get on stage in order to continue to change my body how I want or to impact the person that I want to be. And I really, really think that my transition right now is motivated because I know that food and nutrition and how I feel about myself impacts everything that I do, from who I am with my family to my job to how I live my life. And I just want to have the life of my dreams. And I really do. I'm so fortunate, but so much of the blessings that I have are because of specific choices that I've made. And I'm just loving that ownership and that accountability. I did struggle a little bit with taking that title away of being a bikini competitor because my platform for my business was really built on my prep journey and that road for me. And so I think the most important work that I've been doing so far this year is re-identifying with myself without that title and being okay with working out just because I love to be an athlete, not for any particular reason.
To stay healthy, still feel good. So what do you tell your clients? So, because I've seen this time and time again in fitness world, is there are all these bodybuilders for years and years and years, then they stop and then they just balloon. And what's your biggest tip on how to really transition and still live a healthy lifestyle?
Making it a lifestyle. So, and it's so much of it starts with the food. If you start your fitness journey on a super restrictive meal plan and someone that's not giving you any of the tools or educating you on,
right,
you know, if you want some chocolate, switch this for that. If you're not getting any of that, then you could really easily, and this happens all the time, go through this journey with a bunch of drugs in your system and a bunch of rice and white fish, and then you have no tools to be a normal human after that.
Yep.
And so I would tell people that when you're choosing a coach and someone to support you through that, you should be interviewing a coach just as much as a coach is asking you questions.
Oh, I love that. So interview your coaches. I think
Interview
that's really
your coach.
important.
What are some good questions to ask a coach when you're interviewing them?
Ooh, yeah.
So glad you asked that, because this is the biggest thing. We get so many competitors inquiring with us that are just coming off a show,
right?
but
just normal people too.
I was on the phone this morning with someone that competed in October, and she's still going up and down because she doesn't know how to do nutrition on her own. And so I always tell people, when you're interviewing a coach, if you want to prep, you should be asking them things like, what are your protocols for peak week and water depletion?
Okay.
Do you manipulate water at all, or push prescription strength diuretics, drugs of any kind? Like, what are your expectations of me as a client? What are your cardio protocols? Can you give me an idea of what you see for the structure of my plan? They should be able to tell you by looking at you and knowing your intake and seeing your current physique, what it's going to take, and help you build that timeline. I would also say don't ever prep on a meal plan if you don't know how to track macros. You should spend a month or two learning how to do that, so that way you have that tool for when you're finished.
So speaking of meal plans, what is your ideal bodybuilding diet? Macros, meal plan?
Macros always. You know, I had Fit Kitchen direct food and prep. There's the beauty of it is, if you, there shouldn't be anything off limits. Nothing. There is no cheat or restrict. You can have whatever you want to. It just needs to fit, and you should be empowered to make choices that encourage your goal or encourage you to feel good. So I could start prep tomorrow, and the only thing would change is that I'd have to do some cardio. Like, I don't have to take out any foods or anything like that. And if you know how to track macros and have that information about the value of foods and what equals what in terms of nutrient value, put yourself on a meal plan. Like, I end up eating a lot of the same things all the time because I know it works and it's easy, and those are the groceries that I keep buying.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can create as much structure as you need, but if you don't have that backbone tool, it's really hard to stay healthy for the long term
and be sustainable.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to that last question just a little bit. So someone that's never talked to a coach, nutrition, all of that kind of stuff, if they were going to start and they're interviewing someone like yourself, what questions should they ask?
Where did you get educated?
Okay.
Good one.
Do you have any client testimonials or anyone else from your community that you could share with me? What resources are provided with your coaching? How frequently how are you adjusting my nutrition and my cardio? What are you looking for? What's the check-in process? How involved are you? What can I expect from you?
So lots of really good questions.
Wow,
We'll write them all in the podcast notes too.
Well, so here's the thing that blows my mind, and I won't sit on this for too long, but I did this, and I see women doing this all the time. They're just paying $50 for this plan, and the coach didn't ask you for your height, your weight, what you're eating now. They didn't ask you anything. So how did they make a nutrition plan that's customized for your metabolism and your metabolic rate without asking you any of those things? And it blows my mind that people will pay money for something that you know that they're just sending that to 100 people. It's like, that's not
just copy and
it's
pasting.
not for you. Yeah.
Just copy and paste.
So don't spend $100 on something that's probably hurting you in the long run, you know?
What's the kind of the price range that someone should be looking at to pay in order to have a coach like yourself? Like, what is is it $100? Is it $50? Is it $300 a month?
So
what's reasonable
for prep and bodybuilding specifically? It's going to be upwards of $250 a month for a decent coach.
Gotcha.
It's worth the investment. Bodybuilding is not a cheap hobby. And if you want to do it right, you need to just go into it knowing that it's going to cost you. I put my first bikini on a credit card. I have no shame in that. It is what it is, but you don't get to go back and fix your metabolism easily. So that's worth it. And then for lifestyle coaching, anywhere from, $175 to $400. I mean, it really depends on what you're looking to invest and change in yourself. But the thing is if you pay me $99 for this meal plan, you're not going to go in your kitchen and dump out all the crap and really truly commit. If you pay me $3.99, you're in.
Yeah,
this is what we're doing.
Gone.
You're invested. And as a client, you have to want it more than your coach does. And so
Right.
just knowing that it's your health and it's literally going to be the best money you've ever spent when you do it correctly, it's worth it. You can't cut corners, and you'll learn that eventually if you do, because you won't end up where you want to be. So
I love that. So what is your philosophy now with nutrition and exercise?
now I am learning how to not place judgment on my body, because I'm so used to critiquing it for bikini competing.
Yep.
And I'm trying to learn how to untrain my brain to do that and to just see me as a whole complete person without dissecting. And I'm really just eating and fueling my body for what I love to do. I love to move. I like to run. And so I work out according to how I want my body to look and what feels good. And I'm just loosely tracking my macros right now. My intake is crazy high, and I am eating.
What's your intake
what sounds
now?
good. Oh, I eat like 2,500 calories a day.
What was it during prep?
I think the lowest that I had to go for nationals, and 7 months in, I think I was closer to 1,300 calories.
Wow.
It dropped a lot. But my intake when I started wasn't as high as it is now.
Right.
Loren got my intake up crazy high when I was
high.
done. Yeah, this is the highest it's
still
ever been.
look amazing and so fit.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
I mean, your body literally turns into the food that you put in your mouth. So that really motivated me when I was finished competing. It doesn't have to change.
Your body turns into the food that you put in your mouth.
Literally, like that's what your cells turn into. You actually are what you eat. So if you're eating a bunch of plants and natural things that are designed in the world for you to be having, you're probably going to look pretty awesome. My body changed for the better, not competing at all when I started doing things like that. And if you're eating a ton of Halo Top and Skittles, then you're going to have less vibrancy than otherwise. You know what I mean? It's just
Brought
all
to you
about...
by our sponsors at Halo Top and Skittles.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. And that's not to say you can't have ice cream, but just eat the real thing. You know, like I tell people all the time, if you want chocolate, go get yourself some like 80% real chocolate. Get the good stuff that has actual vitamins and nutrients in it. Upstart Nutrition is amazing. Yes.
Okay, last one. When you coach your clients, what can they expect from you? So when they purchase their plan, what do they expect? Both just a general client looking to just get healthy, and then a bodybuilding prep client.
We get them on the phone and set those expectations.
So they actually get to talk to you.
They actually get to talk to us, yeah. And I will not start a new client without, and this is a newer thing that we're doing, but having that phone conversation and getting really clear on the goal. And then we build out their timeline and what that program looks like together. We talk a lot about the mutual investment and that 90-day commitment initially.
Yes.
And then they can expect education. My whole thing is I never want my clients to be my clients forever. I mean, I love them and I always want to be in touch with them. But the goal is not for me to be your crutch. I want to change your habits, teach you how to do it, get you to your goal weight or whatever the goal is. And then I'm going to teach you how to maintain and coast so that you can go on and live an awesome life by yourself.
Yep. And
that's how it should be.
That is key. And that's another, I used to tell people looking for personal trainer, what do I ask them? Well, you need to ask them, are they going to teach you what you need to know to do it by yourself? And please make sure they do, because you don't want to have a trainer for 50 years. You can if you want, but ideally you do it on your own.
You should do it on your own. And I think a huge thing that people forget too is that exercise and moving your body is really important, but it's not more important than what you eat.
Yep.
And so many people start with the gym, and then it takes them years to understand that if you start with your food, you'll get so much further.
And quicker.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Way quicker.
Yeah.
That's the end of our normally programmed questions. We have one more set for you real quick, but I just want to say thank you so much for being on. This is a unique time in your life.
It is.
Right? This is a big changing moment, and I'm glad that we got to interview you during this transition phase, because there's the mentality you can now see in the past.
It's really cool. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy that we got to talk about some of these things, because it is new for me and it's new for a lot of our audience as well, our combined audience and my personal one. And my whole mission is to just show people you can do whatever it is that you want to do. You don't have to be on stage. You can.
And I think it's so important to talk about the bodybuilding world, because it can get unsafe. It really, really can.
Oh yeah.
And if anybody's asked us about bodybuilding or prep or who do I talk to, it's always you guys.
Thank you.
Always you guys. You guys have the best philosophy. You do it in the most safe way possible. And you guys are just all about like lifestyle wellness and really just making sure people feel good.
Yeah.
Good on the inside.
Keeping it in perspective. That's what I've always gleaned off of your philosophy, the way that you work. And now I'm motivated to do a 90-day with you.
Oh,
there you go. There you go. Well, I appreciate you guys so much, and thank you for taking your time out of your day today.
And last, I have to do this. This is the rapid fire question, so we do it for 30 seconds. So I'll ask one, you ask one.
And then you ask one, and then I'll ask one.
Okay, and so just answer as fast as you can. We'll see as many as we can get through.
Yeah.
And it's a little get to know Carson even more.
Okay.
Okay, ready? And I have my timer. 3, 2, 1. Okay, favorite gym movement?
Hip thrusts.
Ooh.
Favorite cheat meal?
Sushi, but I have that whenever I want.
Best place to get a spray tan?
Oh my gosh, a Rose Beauty. Well, Palm Beach Tan, but also a Rose Beauty. Haley comes to my house and it's the same price as going anywhere else, and it lasts 2 weeks.
Love that.
Booking that, getting the triple fade. Favorite place to travel?
Anywhere where it's truly vacation, to the beach, probably.
Thumbs up.
So many more. Can you give us a couple lines of Cardi B?
No. Literally because I don't have them memorized.
All right, lastly, Carson, where can people find you, and what is the last fitness and wellness tip to leave with us?
People can find me on Instagram. My username is carson.siler. Pretty easy. And then you can also find more information about my coaching and our brand and what we do at www.teamhex.com. And I think that my final farewell tip is to take 100% accountability for what you want. When you don't have excuses, it becomes really, really easy to get where you want to go. So just own it and make it happen.
Love it. So just
great
do
advice.
it. Thank you guys so much. We will have you back next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Meaningfull Podcast.
Make sure to hit subscribe, because every time you do, a baby elephant gets its wings.
And if you want to be the first to get updates whenever we release a new video, click the bell button to turn on notifications.
Thank you so much for watching.